This is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
Good evening, everyone. A woman has been taken to hospital after being shot in the stomach at a Claremont home overnight. Police are still investigating the circumstances of the incident and have charged a 23-year-old man with causing grievous bodily harm. Detectives say 2 children who were inside the house are physically uninjured.
Police were at the Claremont home today investigating last night's disturbance. Detectives say a 27-year-old woman was shot in the stomach around 9 o'clock.
Thankfully, her injuries are non-life-threatening. However, obviously, any sort of shooting or any sort of wound from a firearm has the potential to be deadly. And so we're taking it very seriously.
Neighbours were unsure what the commotion was.
Got up and looked out the window with all the flashing lights and stuff. No sirens or anything were going or anything like that. Wondered what was going on. That was about all I heard. Didn't hear anything else beforehand.
Forensic police today focusing their attention on bushland behind the property. A gun found in the long grass photographed and put into a bag. A man at the scene was taken into custody last night and late today charged with causing grievous bodily harm. 2 young children were inside the home at the time of the alleged shooting, but were physically unharmed.
I've checked on the children this morning and they are fine. And obviously police, we have specialist investigators that deal with children and those specialist investigators will deal with those children today.
Any witnesses can provide information to Crime Stoppers anonymously. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
Tensions are flaring following Labor's pokies policy. The federal group announcing it's considering legal action and whether it will withdraw donations to the party. The Tasmanian Hospitality Association claiming it will buckle regional businesses. But community groups are standing by the move, which they claim is crucial for the health of Tasmanians.
A show of force by hundreds of federal group employees, flanking their CEO as he addresses the media for the first time since Labor announced its policy to have pokies out of pubs and clubs within 5 years.
This is a substantial threat to our business model. This would decimate our business.
Mr Farrell couldn't answer how much pokies revenue boosts his company.
I couldn't say exactly. Substantial amount of money.
He puts people before profits and the public interest before vested interest.
But he's furious at the opposition's plan to rein them into casinos, claiming it's an attack on the hospitality industry, now considering legal action as well as reviewing political donations.
Donations we've made historically on the basis of helping both parties further articulate their policy positions to the electorate. However, in this case, we clearly don't support their policy.
We know there's going to be attacks over this, but we've listened to the Tasmanian community.
The Tasmanian Hospitality Association also making its position clear. Many of its members concerned about their venues in regional communities.
So a lot of them are about, geez, our economy is not going that well up the northwest, this is going to destroy my business.
Because they are located in the vulnerable communities, they're taking the money from the people who can least afford to lose it.
Social services ramping up their pre-election campaigning to get pokies out.
The stakes are very high. There's a lot to be won and a lot to be lost in both sides of this campaign.
You'd have to be extraordinarily naive to believe that by eradicating gaming machines in hotels and clubs you eradicate problem gambling. Do they really think they're going to take up knitting and crosswords?
A pre-election gamble that may or may not pay off. Louise Hedger, Southern Cross News.
It's being described as a game changer which could help make Tasmania the battery of the nation. Construction of the proposed $1 billion Robbins Island wind farm is now officially underway, and it could soon be the biggest wind farm in the Southern Hemisphere.
It's a region renowned for its wind farms, and now a new development aims to significantly increase energy output. This newly installed 112-metre monitoring tower is collecting wind data to help maximise the potential of the proposed Robbins Island wind farm.
This is a bit of a game changer, not just for Tasmania, but for Australia.
UPC Renewables is funding and building the $1 billion farm on land leased from the Hammond family.
we will be producing power that can reduce the cost of energy, will push the prices lower, and any surplus power will then hopefully be exported through the second interconnector that is being proposed.
We've got what the rest of the country wants and desires, and we're going to maximise this for Tasmania's sake.
While still in the development stage, the energy generators are expected to dwarf those at nearby Woolnorth. The centre of the turbines are set to be as tall as these monitoring towers, with the arms to then extend another 60 metres into the air. The Hammond family, who own Robbins Island, have been planning the project for 17 years.
You know, it's always been a matter of trying to survive economically, and we see this as another way to farm, and another way to diversify, another way to sort of help keep the property in the next generation.
The overall size of the wind farm will depend on what comes out of the data that's collected. The ultimate goal is for the farm to generate between 400 and 1,000 megawatts of energy. Anything above 500 will make it the biggest wind farm in the Southern Hemisphere. Those behind the project hope the farm will generate enough energy to power 500,000 homes and expect there to be between 150 and 300 turbines on the island. Wind monitoring will continue over the next few years. Turbine construction is earmarked to begin in 2021.
We're expecting the construction jobs up to 250 construction jobs over a period of 4 years, and approximately 50 full-time jobs once it's operating. We're also working with AgriTas to create a bit of a training scheme.
This is probably one of the best Christmas presents Circular Head could ever imagine, and I know they will be local people living in our area and trading in our area and helping our community to prosper.
It's yet to be determined where the turbines will be manufactured, but they will be brought to the island by barge. If all goes to plan, Robbins Island will be powering homes by 2023. Monica Dadson, Southern Cross News.
Tasmanian church leaders say they're examining the Royal Commission's extensive findings and recommendations. Sexual abuse support workers urging Tasmania to push ahead with the Commonwealth redress scheme for victims.
Local church leaders marking the end of what they say is a sad chapter in their history.
I'm glad finally this report is out. Of course, it's a very lengthy report, I think 17 volumes, so it'll take obviously some time to go into greater detail.
We recognise that the church has lost credibility in the community. We know that we have to take time to rebuild that trust.
The Royal Commission delivering its extensive report after hearings in Tasmania and across the country, examining institutional responses to child sexual abuse. Religious organisations say they'll pore through the findings, but for the Catholic Church, recommendations for voluntary celibacy and breaking confessional confidentiality are unlikely to be implemented.
That is universal Catholic law and tradition, and every priest is committed to the absolute inviolability of the seal of confession.
The prestigious Sandy Bay Hutchins School was criticised for a lack of compassion in dealing with a victim of sexual abuse who was seeking an apology. On advice of solicitors, the school's board refused to respond to his letter.
The Hutchins School have agreed that they did not handle the situation well. There has been great changes in the way our schools are dealing with complaints of sexual abuse.
People coming forward haven't been listened to, they haven't been believed, and therefore nothing's happened.
Support workers are urging Tasmania to push forward with the Commonwealth redress scheme for victims. Discussions are still ongoing.
So survivors of institutional child sexual abuse have an option to seek justice and seek support, ongoing support for the trauma that they've experienced.
Former Bishop Philip Newell was criticised by the Royal Commission in the way he handled allegations of sexual abuse in Tasmania in the 80s and 90s. Around 10 months after that criticism, the Anglican Diocese is still examining disciplinary action, with a tribunal hoped to be called next year.
When that report came down, I initiated a disciplinary process against Bishop Newell. We've been waiting for Bishop Newell to respond to that. He's been quite unwell.
Today may be the end of a chapter, but still clouds hang over Tasmania's churches. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
Two children are lucky to be alive after a fire engulfed part of their home in South Launceston this afternoon. Firefighters say the blaze started at the Melbourne Street property when the children were playing with matches. Both were treated for smoke inhalation while their mother was taken to the Launceston General Hospital for observation. Firefighters spent the afternoon installing fire alarms in the home. A watch and act warning is tonight in place from a bushfire burning near St Helens. The fire at Brooks Road may put Flagstaff Hill, south of the East Coast town, at risk within the next hour. 10 tankers and water bombing helicopters have been tasked to the area. The Tasmania Fire Service warns the blaze will be difficult to control and there may be embers, smoke and ash falling in the area. Residents are urged to have an emergency evacuation plan in place and to monitor the TFS website for updates. It was another proud moment for Tasmania's LGBTIQ community today, with the Hobart City Council making good on its pledge to lower the rainbow flag from its flagpole once marriage equality became law. Following the ceremony, the flag was presented to representatives of the LGBTIQ community to keep as a sign of love, perseverance and equality. The City of Hobart was the first local government in the state to formally support the idea of same-sex marriage. A new study has been published aiming to give firefighters an insight into how to reduce bushfire risk in Tasmania. The study reveals controlled burning to reduce fuel loads will unlikely have an impact on bushfires at a large scale. It suggests planned burn-offs were still necessary but not sufficient. It shows controlled burning can only be effective if it's carefully designed and analysed. Two Tasmanian farmers today shared their story in becoming organic dairy producers following the milk price crash. Thrown what they refer to as a lifeline by Ashgrove Cheese, the farmers say if they hadn't made the switch, they would have been forced to sell up and retire.
Two farmers, two dairy products and one solid dream. But for Kevin and Jeff, the transition to organic certainly hasn't been without its twists and turns.
I don't think our farm would have been sustainable in our way we've been farming for the last 50, 60 years.
The milk price went back up and we kicked along a bit, and then when it crashed 18 months, 2 years ago, we really said, right, we will finish off what we started and we'll go organic.
For the families, now all good mates, going organic meant getting back to basics.
We went back to doing things that Dad did when I was a kid growing up on a dairy farm, and basically a lot of the animal health products, we went back to doing that, cider vinegar, and now that the fish and kelp is available now for soil health.
Kevin's son John watched on as his father gave an emotional speech about the 5-year journey the family's endured to get to today. He's confident come January next year, when the soon-to-be certified organic cheese is distributed to the rest of the country, the product will do the state proud.
Very excited. Everyone likes to get stuff from Daddy and that.
It's in a more natural taste. It's unadulterated tasting to it, and it's a lot just clean. You just feels a lot cleaner.
It just enhances the story of how Tasmania produces great product.
And the next generation appears to be in agreement.
Does it taste any good?
Yes.
How good?
Very good.
Jessie Gilmore, Southern Cross News.
The buzz is growing ahead of the annual Taste of Tasmania, with the festival's new organisers promising a fresh and exciting feel. ARIA award-winning Tasmanian musician Monique Brunby will be one of many artists performing during the New Year's Eve celebration. The Hobart City Council nursery is currently growing more than 1,200 plants and flowers that will attach to the new Taste of Tasmania sign.
It's an epically big sign. It's our entrance, so it's 15 metres by 3.8 metres tall, and it's just a moment for people to drive by, walk by and say Taste of Tasmania and to feel proud about being Tasmanian.
The taste kicks off on the 28th of December. A popular art exhibition is showcasing some of Tasmania's most dynamic and contemporary artists. The 2017 Art Rage collection gives young artists in Year 11 and 12 a chance to display their work on a professional scale at the Queen Victoria Art Gallery.
Art and emotion working hand in hand, each piece aiming to evoke intense feelings.
It's a really personal thing that everyone's works are up, because your art comes from a very personal place, so to have it on display is really special to be able to share that with lots of different people.
For Oriana Santa Maria, art is about expression.
It's calming, it's a way to get out what you're thinking and what you feel passionate about. I've always loved portraiture. I've always loved trying to show the different emotions in people.
Her work representing refugee children who now call Tasmania home.
So I talk them about their experience of coming to Australia and what it's like to be here now and how accepted they feel in the community. And then I took photos with them with their eyes closed and then used those photos to try and show that in sculpture.
Everything from oil paintings to striking hand-drawn pieces filling the walls of the gallery as part of the annual Art Rage exhibition.
For the students, Art Rage is sometimes their first professional gallery show that they have in their CV, and then sometimes being in Art Rage is the thing that kind of like spurs them on and their art career.
There are more than 100 works on display from 22 schools across the state, every piece carrying powerful messages of love, human rights, justice and peace.
They're done in every different art form, so traditional art forms, ceramics, traditional oil painting, drawing, those kind of materials, as well as new technologies are starting to come in. We're starting to see 3D printing and laser cutting.
Art Rage is in its 23rd year and is on display until March. Rita Risk, Southern Cross News.
Tourists coming to Tasmania can now track their journey with a new app. The Tourism Tracer app allows visitors to share their trip and give insights into how they moved around and what influenced their decisions. Its aim is to track travel patterns to help operators improve the tourist experience in Tasmania. Visitors will receive a Tour Tracer map at the end of their visit showing their travel journey, which they can then share on social media. Bridport residents have been placed on Stage 1 water restrictions in an effort to reduce non-essential water use over the summer holiday period. From today until the 29th of January, residents are being asked to be conscious of their water use and only use manual watering systems between 6 and 8 a.m. and 8 and 10 p.m. Hosing of paving and concrete is banned except for construction or health and safety purposes. Buckets and handheld hoses can be used to rinse vehicles and to fill up pools with a capacity of less than 2,000 litres. Time now to have a look at the day's business and finance news with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. The Australian share market has closed lower, driven by falls in banking and utility stocks. The ASX 200 index has dropped by 14.3 points. A short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 76.68 US cents and 65.08 euro cents.
Emerging Tasmanian all-rounder Jared Freeman has been rewarded for some stellar form in the Under-19 National Championships and is set to realise a long-term ambition after earning selection in the Australian squad for the Under-19 Cricket World Cup in New Zealand. Just as comfortable with bat in hand as he is with the ball, the man they call Frog has leaped his way into cricketing's national spotlight.
Yesterday morning and got the call from Ben Roar and he let me know I was in. I was just over the moon, just gave Dad a call and he was obviously very excited as well and it's just a huge honour. After some impressive recent performances in the Under-19 National Championships, Freeman will be the sole Tasmanian representing his country in next month's World Cup. It's been my dream from when I found out about it last year and something I always really wanted to do is represent my country at this level especially, and now to be able to do it at the World Cup this year will be really exciting. The off-spinning Georgetown product is no stranger to representative cricket, previously selected for Australia as an under-16, and after putting in the hard yards this off-season, he's keen to make a name for himself in New Zealand. Hopefully the future goal is a rookie contract with Tasmania, and hopefully if I keep working hard and impressing the right people, I'll hopefully get there one day. Australia's first match is against India on January 14.
Tasmania's Stuart McSwain looks set to become the first athlete from King Island to compete at a Commonwealth Games. The runner earning automatic nomination after storming home to win the Australian 10,000 metre championship in Melbourne overnight. It's been a year to remember for McSwain, and the King of King Island had one more highlight left in him.
McSwain getting closer. Tiernan trying to hold him. McSwain's got past him, and McSwain's going to come away and win the Zatopek. What a run. He's going to sprout wings late.
Coming up against Rio Olympian and defending Zatopek 10 champion Pat Tiernan, McSwain sat comfortably on his heels for most of the race before making his move in the home stretch.
It was a really good field, so I knew it'd be hard, and I just had to try and hold on. Tiernan was throwing down the quick laps, and then just hold on and just give it all I got that last lap, and I was lucky enough just to get him at the end.
The Tasmanian's time of 28 minutes and 37 seconds is a B qualifier for April's Commonwealth Games on the Gold Coast. And with official selection likely to follow, the talented runner now faces the conundrum of which event he'll compete in, after also qualifying in the 5,000 metres and 3,000 metre steeplechase.
I think the 10K in the long term will be my best, but at the moment I'm just focusing on 10K, 5K and steeple, and then whatever I can do well enough to make the teams in, I'm happy to go with.
If selected, McSwain will be the first ever athlete from King Island to compete at the Games. And lastly, with Launceston's international tennis tournament just weeks away, dozens of children have started training for their role as ball kids. Today's coaching session, one of several, making sure the chosen kids are ready for the major week-long event.
So when they're on court, they're dealing with professional players who travel the world and experience this all over the world. So it's vital that they are confident in their own ability and that we're confident in their ability to service the players. So this kind of training is vital for that.
The international tournament begins February 6.
Good evening. Hobart 23 today, Launceston and Burnie 21 and Devonport 19 degrees. Temperatures ranged from -1 at Lyawini to our high of 24 at Campania, Fingal and St Helens. Actually, young 10-year-old Max from St Helens said it felt warmer than that, but if I said it was 24, then he's fine with that. Thanks, Max. Ooze 23 degrees, Friendly Beaches 22, Wynyard, Maria Island and Grove 21, Strawn and the Islands 20, Lowhead and Lyawini 19. Patchy high cloud is streaming over Western Australia. A band of high and middle cloud is also there on the map over Queensland and New South Wales. Active thunderstorms over the Kimberley district and parts of the top end. Over our region, a cold front is approaching the state from the west, but today we had low-level cloud over the west with higher cover over parts of the south and east. Tomorrow, that cold front will cross the state. A trough lies over Western Australia with another extending from the Territory to southeast New South Wales. The winds northwest reaching 25 to 30 knots over the south before tending southwesterly at 10 to 20 knots during the late morning. Swells to 3 metres. Strong wind warning for waters between Southeast Cape and Low Rocky Point. Saturday in Hobart, an afternoon shower and 23. 19 for Medina, 21 for Oatlands with a shower developing. Launceston, a possible afternoon shower, 24. 21 the top for Devonport, same sort of forecast, and for Lyawini, a top of 17. Burnie, a possible afternoon shower, 21, a top of 20 for Strawn and Marrawar with a shower or two, and in the east, partly cloudy for St Helens, but a shower developing for Swansea, both on 24 and 23, the top for Orford. And 11 across the UV board, which is extreme. On Sunday, fine apart from a possible morning shower over the southeast, fine and partly cloudy for most areas on Monday, and on Tuesday mainly fine with increasing cloud and freshening northerly winds. A sunny 26 in Perth tomorrow, partly cloudy in Adelaide and Brisbane, sunny weather for Melbourne, an afternoon shower or storm forecast for Sydney, Canberra, Darwin and Alice Springs. Mostly clear in 19 in Hobart, 18 in Launceston, clear in Devonport and 17 degrees at the moment. And with that, Joe, it's good night from me.
All right, thanks so much for that, Murph. Nice and quick tonight. That's all from the news team. Bye-bye.